Welcome to the game Mostly Harmless Cutaway.
You're listening to a Mostly Harmless Cutaway.
Mostly harmless. Mostly harmless? Oh, come. I think that's pretty good coverage for a disintegrated pile of rubble.
Hi, this is Eric.
This is Josh.
This is Kat.
This is Sean.
And this is Carl.
And this is 60 Minutes.
No, this is Nightline.
Wasn't it 2020?
One of them.
I don't remember it.
This is 2020.
No, it's Nightline. Definitely Nightline.
Oh, no. It would be Ted Koppel. I'm Ted Koppel.
I'm Ted
Koppel.
And this is Nightline.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Well, there goes our Gen Z audience.
See,
they have
folks,
no idea what the boomers are talking about.
This is what happens when you do 2 shows in one night. I'm just going to say that right now.
With Morley Safer.
This
Ed Bradley.
is Mostly Harmless Cutaway, episode 182. Yes, I don't know how many listened to the previous Minnesota Max episode, or if it came out before or after this.
Nobody did.
Or if you've been tuning in, week out on this feed.
Nobody did.
Because these episodes have all been recorded out of order for the last 4 or 5 weeks. Glad you could make it. And I wanted to say this on the mini-sode, but I'm sure most of you skipped it or came here first, or I don't know. But I felt like this was a little bit of a reunion of sorts. And it's weird because someone brought up Miracle Day recently, and I was going to bring it up myself.
Me too.
Just because I was going to say Miracle Day, as I mentioned before, is when Sean really came into the tent of MHC. And it was when the 4 of us, myself, Josh, Kat, and Sean, really started to bond on the podcast. So having us 4 Charter Miracle Day members back in United.
Charter Miracle Day members. I'm going to put that on the business card. Start
Yeah.
it out.
Yeah. Who's this? Look, Carl, are you taking this down in the minutes?
So this felt special. And for those also keeping track at home with your MHC bingo cards and whatnot, the curse is still in full effect. I knew when Caleb said he wouldn't be able to join us, that meant there was a door open for Kat to slide in.
I know that he is either not real, that motherfucker's not real, or he hates me. So,
By the way, Cat came in through the cat door.
Or both Caleb and Kat are played by an actress with the last name of Twist.
okay.
And this has been
Or-
the
or
ongoing
triad.
MHC through line through this season of the podcast. And what's the explanation? Nobody knows, but apparently these 2 cannot appear on the same record. And by the way, this curse is not just Doctor Who MHC. This is RBG. This is Novice Elitists. This is anything we record. They can never both.
So
be in the
maybe
same
we
place
need to
at
be
the same time.
73 yards apart.
Maybe.
Oh,
Maybe.
that's what it is.
Well, I see Caleb off. We're on FaceTime and he's doing some hand signals at me. I'm not sure if he's like guiding in a plane or what he's doing, but he's
It's
pantomiming
baby
over there.
prayer. It is putting on the lotion.
What?
Caleb, just speak. Just tell us. What are you trying to say? Okay. I'm sure we'll chime in with Caleb next time, and then Kat won't be here. But until then,
I mean, it was a literal tornado.
Caleb was 3D printed for this whole thing. So we could, because we didn't want to edit anything. So
yeah, it took a lot of fishing line, and it's not my fault that his top half is yellow and his bottom half is green because
Yeah, and
it's hard to have.
the reason there's not a YouTube channel for this podcast is Caleb is basically, he looks like Chameleon, but instead of silver, imagine just like flesh and veins.
I was
just
going to say the
dripping.
Vlinks. He's more like the Vlinks,
Speaking of masquerading, dare I say cosplaying,
Oh, God. Okay. All right. I like it.
there is an episode on deck. New Who. We're going back to 1813.
Oh god.
Eric Stadnick's favorite year. That's a Germain reference, but we're going to Bridgerton, aka Doctor Who, aka I'm sure Josh loved this one more than Boom. So, who would like to throw out their first hot take on this hot episode?
Yep.
Was there somebody else that just spoke? If so, because I feel like as the resident gay, I should step forward.
By the way, that's how Sean is saved in my contacts on my phone.
Resident gay.
Yeah. Not to be confused with Resident Alien. But,
Or Resident Evil.
Oh.
Basically, when you go to the Q&A room, I burst out of a window and scare the hell out of you and your siblings. All right. This episode, let's see. All right, I'm just gonna tell you a little bit of information here, or a clue, is that this was written by two people that I think we discussed it before. We don't recognize their names, but they've done other stuff with RTD, I think. Is that correct?
This is Kate and Rioni.
Yes. And so RTD has done a chain of episodes now. Some have been great, some have not so great. And we hit the topic, and, I don't know if he writes them in order or, how this is done, because he'll never admit it in Doctor Who magazine. Even though he writes 2-page columns. But we get this episode that is basically a love story. Okay. And he no longer appears to be handling it, even though in the past he's handled that during the time he's been showrunner before, and it has been semi-successful. All right. Maybe I'm just overthinking this, but I'm thinking maybe, that wasn't received too well. Maybe I have this idea. I'm going to hand it over to these two writers. They can do the script. They can even choose the era it's set in. I mean, it could, roll the dice, pick an era. I don't know if he did that. My hat off to you, sir, because that was a very good idea. And if I saw a treatment of the story on paper, I don't think I would have liked it. I don't enjoy. Oh, no, it's strange because you don't think of the Doctor as sexual. And here he is sexual. He's attracted to this man. And we'll get to the gay thing in a moment. And we've seen him do that already. But if it was, number one, it was with his companion. And number two, I don't think the back and forth between them was written as well, because it was spread over an entire season, as opposed to just a few minutes in this episode, Rogue. And then I think about the gay thing, and I thought, was this going to work if it was Jodie Whittaker and a guy, or if it was Peter Capaldi and a girl? Well, you did it with River Song, but Matt Smith going.
It wasn't over 45 minutes, a 45-minute period, Sean.
Oh, this episode wasn't?
No. I'm saying like the whole, like, establish a relationship and
between Rose and 10,
or anything, or anything in reality.
But that's what makes this one better, I think, because they do it in far less than 45 minutes. They do it in like 10 or 15 minutes, and it just worked. And I don't know if it's the gay thing or not. And it isn't the best episode, at least of the season, but it worked. It really, really worked for me. I thought it was very well written, and I have if I thought that RTD had written this, I wouldn't doubt it. Like, there'd be nothing about it. So yeah, I don't know. I'll be quiet now.
People have said, in comparison, The Girl in the Fireplace. Okay, now I've heard that one, but that's over many years, etc. What I can't buy, and again, I'm not gay. I don't know how relationships get started and how relationships maintain themselves. Again, I always assume, maybe stupidly, I always assume that straight couples are just like gay couples. Okay?
Sometimes.
That it takes time, that you get to know somebody and you date them, and over time they become a very important person in your life, and and then you give them a ring, or maybe you give them a ring within 45 minutes.
Well, no, that's not true. But the fast talk, flirty stuff at the beginning is quite true if you're good at it.
Okay, fair enough.
If you're not a complete headless idiot.
Fair enough. I just, from my perspective, I just thought it went on very, very quickly. We're telling everybody, our deepest and darkest secrets. We're showing him the TARDIS, like, within minutes. It's like it just felt very, very quick to me. And again, like, I'm an old-fashioned straight white dude, so what the hell do I know? But from that perspective, like, I just thought it went so quickly that if you blinked, you would not have seen them build their relationship, and that felt a little off to me. Again, as I have to say this more over and over and over again.
I have to agree, pretty much, but this worked. I mean, there shouldn't be enough time to build a relationship, but everything that the doctor said to him would be something that I wished I could say on a date. Like him acting like that every time the music is turned on and off, and like, oh, I see you play Dungeons and Dragons, and the guy's kind of embarrassed about it, and then the doctor ribs him about it, and it was, to me, it was very organic, and I could break it down. Well, no, I couldn't right now, but I think I could if I watched it with a pen and paper. And
So I wanted to wait, as I have through most of these recent episodes of MHC, to be the next to the last and save my comments then. But you guys have already said so much. I can't contain this stuff all in my head, and I have to respond to
it's called drinks.
some of the points that both of you brought up already. So, yeah, obviously I get what both of you are saying. And right off the top, surprising even to me, but I've obviously had some time to think about this episode because it's been, a few weeks already since it originally aired. And then we're having this discussion. And I already had an initial feeling about it. And I've kind of just, my initial feeling has just grown deeper as time has gone on. And I've thought about it a lot. And I rewatched it today. And I'm sort of leaning more in the Sean camp so far, even though, yes, I'm very aware of everything that Josh brought up. But quickly, so I'm going to throw some things out there and try to keep this short because I'll have more to say later. But right off the bat, I think it's pretty obvious that this character, I can't even think of his name right now, the love interest,
Rogue
for the Doctor.
Rogue.
Oh, yeah.
Like the title of the episode?
Right. He is obviously, right off the bat, he's very Captain Jackie. And it almost felt like, to me, the first time I was watching it, like this would have been Captain Jack, and he wouldn't have recognized the Doctor. But perhaps because of out of universe situations where John Barrowman's like canceled or whatever, can't really bring back Captain Jack or John Barrowman. And this is like the next best thing. But I'm not saying this is what it is.
No, you can't have Captain Jack and the Doctor having a kiss and doing all that. No, not acceptable.
Well, it's been done already.
We've already seen him have a kiss with the Doctor.
Not the same type of...
No, it's not the same type. But I'm not saying this. This was just my initial thought because he is very Captain Jack right off the bat. And a lot of his character and dialogue and even the actor's pronunciation. And I think the actor is British as well, but he just does a very believable, natural American-sounding accent.
I wondered why they made that choice. That was curious to me.
Well, all it could make me think was Captain Jack. I mean, especially because of that accent. Oh, also, they are in America. Oh, no, they're not in America.
No.
I guess just to make him seem like, like Captain Jack was in his first episode, like, be someone who's not from there.
Wait, which guy are you talking about? Because there was an American...
Rogue.
But Captain Jack had an American accent too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he was, because he was in the actor is American, I think, or Canadian. He was on the show Manhunter. What?
Jonathan Groff is in Manhunt. Yeah.
Excellent show. Very good.
Yes, him. Yes, but John Barrowman. Oh, never mind. Anyway, this is not even important because the other thing I wanted to say was that I understand this thing about why it was so quick, like this connection, and I think there's several reasons for that. And I understand it is a short running time. And I know Josh brought the thing about, I thought a relationship goes like this, that, and the other. But I don't even necessarily think this is a gay or straight. I don't even think that makes a difference, because I think it's a phenomenon that happens on all sides, because they're not necessarily like in love. And I think there's a lot of reasons why in universe and in story, why this is the way this is in this particular episode. Because whether they're straight or gay or whatever, we know it happens all the time to whatever someone's orientation is, that you just get that spark.
Yep.
You get that love at first sight, or you're at a club, or you're wherever you are, and you just go, whoa, this is weird. I don't usually connect with someone like this.
Correct.
And there's numerous movies, not just rom-coms, but there's numerous really good dramas, romance dramas, like Before Sunrise, where you just have these two casual characters coming from a different place, but then they just have this connection on their, like, right at the first meeting. And what happens in these types of movies, not the rom-coms, but the more serious dramas, is they don't know what's going to happen, after this initial meeting. They have no idea. Are we ever going to see each other again? Are we not? Whatever. So this is just about an initial infatuation. But furthermore, okay, obviously reminds me of Captain Jack, but it also very much reminded me of that Captain Jack episode, I think it was in Torchwood, that one where we see him like sort of like in a flashback to when he was in England masquerading during World War II before he ran into the Doctor. And I always thought that episode was really good in Torchwood. The one where he fell in love with that other pilot or something. I remember really liking that episode and thinking, wow, this was all just in like one episode, but it worked.
Okay, all right. Can we take a huge step back? This is Doctor.
Hold on.
Doctor Who, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, I know that. I know that.
No, Eric, you've been going.
Look. Enough is enough. Okay, enough is enough. Like, there's no mention of this through the canon. This is RTD bringing, as he mentioned, his own life into this sci-fi
I don't
series,
disagree with this, Josh.
and basically,
I don't disagree with this.
basically saying, screw it. I don't care if it's a family sci-fi show. I'm gonna throw the stuff I've done other than Doctor Who into this. This is queer as folk.
What you're
saying? Hey,
meets.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
No. I'm not going to wait a minute.
If it was a woman, you wouldn't be mentioning the fact that it's a family sci-fi show.
No. It would be just as bad. It would be just as bad if it was a woman.
Hold on.
And when you get to the bottom of it, it's just a kiss.
No.
Guys, hold on.
It's not about that. What it's about,
I know,
is okay. I'm going to throw this in because people are going to be. It's going to be, talked about, and it's going to be on social media and all this other stuff. It is barely Doctor Who, and it never has been Doctor Who to have any sex. And you know what? I didn't like Doomsday either. Okay, all right. I don't like sex in my Doctor Who at all, in any way, shape, or form. He's a Time Lord. He's an alien. Enough of these human silly emotions happening off the cuff.
No, Josh, I completely get what you're saying, and everything you just said is true, and RT is very clearly on record as saying what you just said. I mean, like his agenda right now in Doctor Who. Yes, all true. But despite all that, I am still liking what I'm seeing. All that being true, I'm liking what I'm seeing here. And there's more to it too than what I've said already on this particular subject. Because the other thing is, and I wasn't going to talk about this till later, but I guess it's germane now, is that, so I've tried to watch Bridgerton before, the series, and it was very much not my cup of tea. And I watched the two first episodes like a year apart, and it was not my cup of tea either time. And I had coincidentally just watched it like a little bit before this episode came about, which I didn't know this episode was coming, or what it was about. And so I don't like Bridgerton. But after seeing this, I thought, you know what? I'm curious about the actual novel, because apparently I've become a reader again in the last month and a half or two. So I started reading the first novel after this episode came out. And it's been like 3 weeks, and I've been reading this book for 3 weeks here and there. And I'm about halfway through the book now. And like now Bridgerton, the series, makes more sense to me now that I've read half of the first book. I get it. I'm actually getting into the book, even though I never read that type of fiction. The only thing I've ever read similar to that is when I had to read Jane Austen books in college. That's the closest thing I've read to like this. But I'm actually getting into it, the book. And then furthermore, what happens between, now I know from reading the book that what happens between the Doctor and Rogue specifically in just this episode, this is from the pages of Bridgerton. This is what happens all the time, is that two characters who have never known each other, have no history, they just have a spark. And so so keeping in line with what this episode is very clearly trying to show, this is very in line with Bridgerton. So it only makes sense, and it may not make sense in Doctor Who at large, obviously, but if you're doing a Bridgerton episode, it 1,000,000% makes sense. But furthermore,
Eric, but does Bridgerton have the gays?
I haven't got that deep yet into the series, but I wouldn't be surprised. But furthermore, though, besides this book connection in the world, okay, another reason I kind of like this in this episode is, and it's true everything Josh said, like this Doctor Who was never about this. This was never a part of the fabric of the show. Even when RTD dabbled in it before, they never went full on in Doctor Who into these waters, whether it was a hetero couple or whatever, it doesn't matter. They never went full on with this, with the Doctor character specifically. But maybe I've changed. I don't know, because I like what I'm seeing in this one episode, because you see, going back to the Chibnall era, and when they said it's going to be a female Doctor, yada yada yada, I wasn't really on board with that at the get-go, like at the announcement. But once the new show with Chibnall was about to premiere, I said, okay, fine, I'm gonna go with this. And I said, look, it's going to be a female Doctor. This is before we saw any Jodie episodes. I said, this is a female Doctor. I suppose if done correctly, we could see new interesting aspects of the Doctor's character in a female body. That could be interesting. Then we saw the episodes, and it seemed like it was completely wasted, like that opportunity, because it seemed like most Jodie episodes, you could just generically substitute her with a male Doctor, and it wouldn't change that much about those stories. It was like, yeah, she's a woman, but it doesn't seem to really make that much of a difference. There's little things, but nothing significant of like a woman's perspective or something like that. So this, now that we're here, and we all know that it seemed very implied ahead of time, and then became apparent that this Doctor seems to have a proclivity that we've never seen on screen by the Doctor character. I understand many people hate it, and that's fine. But I came into the Ncuti season with the same thing I had with the Jodie. Okay, fine. This is probably part of his character. Mm-hmm. Seemed very apparent from his first full episode. And I had the same thinking. Okay, this could be interesting. At least seeing things that could happen with this Doctor and him be in situations that would never have previously happened. Are they going to do something interesting with it? And up to now, when RTD's been throwing these little gay nuggets out there, it's been like the typical, like, oh, we're just inserting this, whatever. It's not that significant to the story. But this was the first one with Ncuti where I go, okay, it's obviously central to the story. Is this interesting to me? And it was. And I thought, yeah, I wanted something like this for Jodie. I don't know what it would have been, but I wanted something like this.
So you were like, gay nuggets.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Exactly. With Sean filet sauce on the side.
All right.
But seriously though,
do not tempt me.
Yeah,
do not draw a line in the sand.
I'm going to shut up now. No. I'm going to shut up now. But this is a thumbnail of what got me like really interested in thinking about this episode, and like, which surprised me as much as anyone. But I like Sean was saying he was pondering on Dot and Bubble a lot after the fact. I've been pondering probably the most on this episode specifically after the fact from this season.
Well, that's fascinating. Thank you. Now I want to ask, Carl, what did you think of?
Whoa. We have an MHC charter
What?
extended to RBG and other elsewhere.
I was not forwarded a copy by certified mail, therefore I will object to the MHC charter.
I support his objection.
Okay, Ace Attorney. Okay, fine, Kat. I'll let you
Ace
sustain
Attorney.
it. But
Shong Hokanama.
yeah. Well, look, if y'all want Carl to go next, I'm not going to stand in anybody's way.
But we've all talked about it except Carl, therefore
No,
logic.
Kat has
Cat
it.
has not
Kat
talked
has
about
it.
it.
Cat, ladies, Cat first, please. Go ahead.
Okay, all right, I'll do it because I
Oh.
know where you're going on this, Carl.
Yeah.
Okay, so this episode was not expecting it, and I was not. Let me back up. Every Doctor since Christopher Eccleston, there's always an episode where I fall in love with the Doctor. Eric, I'm going to tag on to back to what you were saying about Jodie Doctor. I think everybody missed the actual Doctor that was the Doctor in her time, and it was the Black Doctor lady. Her, I fell in love with because she felt like more of a doctor than Jodie. She was sassy. She was smart.
That's actually true.
She was. I think she was the hidden doctor within the Doctor, but nobody noticed. So there's a point where I fell in love with David Tennant, Matt Smith, Capaldi, and there's always an episode. And this Rogue episode is where I fell in love with Ncuti, if I can say that. This one, I was not. I don't like Bridgerton either. I can't watch it. It's not historically accurate, right? It's just like a costumed drama walk, right?
Well, it's accurate to the books are more realistic than the Netflix series. The Netflix series is more produced for television of this time,
Right.
whereas the book is just a standard book written in 2008. It's not playing to the times we live in.
Right. All right. I thought it was just like a regular soap opera with fancy dress and like.
That's how the book is.
Oh,
it's just they put that modern gloss on what's hip today
Right.
in the show.
So that being said, when I see Jonathan Groff on his face, I'm like, oh shit, my guy from Hamilton. I love this man. I love when
I didn't realize he was in Hamilton until later.
What is he? He was King George.
He was the king.
Which was it George? Or?
Yeah, King
Okay,
George.
yeah. So I loved him in that.
He's incredible in Hamilton.
Right.
Wait,
he was just my-
I looked this up. Jonathan Groff. Which one is he? Jonathan Groff.
He's the one from Mindhunter. He's the rogue.
Oh, okay. God, I'm an idiot. Okay,
Right.
all right.
You haven't seen Hamilton?
No, I'm so sorry.
Sean's not that gay.
What? Who are you? Why you?
I
yeah,
don't
you,
like musicals. You should listen to our
I
podcast.
know. You should.
Right, but you need to see it in person.
No.
I
You
have.
know,
I've never
fellas,
Oh my God.
zip it. Sean, you need to watch it. Watch it with captions on so you can read the lyrics, and it'll be more interesting for you that way because the lyrics are like historical, whatever. And I've watched it both ways, and it's.
Sean, you need to give me your gay card.
Yeah, I do
and
think
I'll
there's
give
a
it
half
back.
a
I'll
star
give it back.
of your gay card got taken
We
away.
went to
because of that.
Beetlejuice, didn't like it. We went to the Evil Dead musical, didn't like it. I was 8 years
What?
old. I was 8 years old. We went to Cats. I didn't like it.
Well, Cats. I mean,
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. I like musicals, but Cats.
Well, anyway, this is the time where like I first noticed him. He is great there, and I've just been a fan ever since. So I saw him here. Like Eric says, he was giving Captain Jack. Thank you. And here, when y'all were talking about the Doctor and him kind of falling in love, I don't think it was falling in love. I think that it was very intense flirting. And here in this episode is where the Doctor really was flirting. His flirting felt natural. It felt like smooth. He felt like a player. Everything was on time with the attraction between him and Rogue,
Absolutely.
and I was just like,
Absolutely.
I'm
Yes.
living for the
I
whole
agree a
thing.
million percent.
I was into it because I felt like it was forced any other time, and it was just in place here, and it was just my favorite thing. So this is where I fell in love with him. Also, of course, I'm always gonna like costumes. Um, I think that the attraction took, on it was kind of fast because the doctor realized this was a peer. He did not have to explain quantum mechanics. He didn't have to explain space travel,
Yeah.
time travel, whatever. He knew they can just kick back jokes or exchange technology tips or things like that, and they're already like on the same page more so than anybody else in this episode. So I think
Million percent agree with that.
I just liked. I mean, this was classic. Really good flirting. I feel like maybe some of that stuff was ad lib, maybe. And if not, they're really really good. I love the music thing that they were doing. I love the fashion insults. I love the kind of like negging and just kind of playing off of
Oh
each
wow.
other. Like, well, when he said his shit looked like trash, it was very Millennium
Yeah,
Falcon. Very.
Yeah, and then when Ncuti came back later, oh, you see that thing you don't recognize? Surfaces, clear
Yeah,
surfaces.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
so good. And I felt like that was right out of RTD's diary. Either he said it or someone told him
It was
that when he was younger.
it was very real. I was like, I know him. You know what I mean? It's like I know this guy. I get with this guy. So and then everything else just kind of fell into place. I wasn't that annoyed with the ring thing because that was supposed to be fake anyway, but they got some emotions mixed up there. And I think Rogue was also he is cautious. He was very cautious and he observed the doctor and he saw what he needed to see in that man in order to trust him, which is why he did what he did at the end of the episode. And I was here for it all. I really hope we see a lot of him. He is his peer, the way Captain Jack was with David Tennant. Even though they weren't, flirting as hard as these two guys, that vibe I like whatever that vibe is. I love it, and they do that very well. And this to me, when people say that Boom is their favorite episode, I'm like, are you kidding me? This one is the episode. So
And I'm sorry, I'm gonna address Josh. I just think, Josh, that when I was thinking, actually I agree with you that he's sort of like that RTD is sort of like not plotting, but sort of like flagrantly advertising the fact that he's woke. But on the other hand, this was still a really good love story.
yeah.
So
Yeah, I second that too.
And if I want a love story, I'll watch something else.
Yeah. I get that point too.
Wait, so can I ask you something, Josh? So I know like you like Doctor to keep it real and you like them to stay on task or whatever. What about this really got like annoyed you? Like just the relationship, or was
It was a love story, and that's perfectly fine, but not fine for Doctor Who. It's just not. It's not the show. What this is an attempt to put a gay character out there and make it a love story, which is not what I watch Doctor Who for.
Okay.
Yeah, and I get that too. And let me say on that point, because historically speaking for myself, I was more in that Doctor Asexual camp as well, as he was established in the classic series. And the gay agenda thing would come up frequently during the RTD's first run.
right?
But again, those were like little things that were just kind of like stuck in there here and there.
Yeah, he's unbridled now.
Right, true. But I was more in that Doctor Forever asexual camp, back then and whatnot. And this is why I said a little bit earlier, maybe I've changed or something since then to now, because this is just speaking for
Now I know what
myself.
you mean by that. Okay.
Because I've gotten to a point where not just about the sexual thing, but just with things in general in Doctor. And I'm not talking about everything. I'm not talking about recreate the entire show, but I'm saying I am more open to seeing things, not necessarily sexual relationships, but just seeing things in Doctor Who that I've never really seen before. Because something I've always thought also in the back of my mind, even back then, like in 25 or 2010, is that, when Doctor Who was a new show, original run, obviously nothing was established at first. Time Lords weren't established, regeneration wasn't established, like nothing really was. And so they had this freedom back then that they could just kind of make it as they went. And they didn't go at breakneck speed. The changes were very gradual and subtle over a decade plus, the big changes. But I've always thought about how they had that freedom to do whatever they wanted back then, because nothing was written. Nothing was, it had to be this or that. And that's how they could invent something like regeneration, which was obviously a radical concept at the time. I mean, for writing, for television.
There's no comparison here.
Hold on. I'm just saying, though, in my head, though.
That's sci-fi.
And okay, also, in other series and shows, I don't want to get into new Star Trek, but not just new Star Trek, but other things, plenty of things nowadays. They've plugged in like these gay romances,
don't care.
Non-binary
Don't
romances. Care. No, hold on. Let me finish this. Non-binary romances and all different types of things. And generally, I don't like those when they've popped up in other IPs. Not because I don't like that concept or anything like that, but because it doesn't feel like it's really done well at all, written well. The characters' motivations in these other IPs, when they become attached or whatever, they seem very, I'm generalizing obviously, but they seem skin deep. They don't seem deep. They don't seem like formed. But the reason I like this one is because kind of, I think what I hear Sean and Kat saying, it just feels like it was well executed. Yeah, so even if this was like a straight connection, like a male and a female, like the Doctor, female companion, if it was like well written and constructed, then I could be on board with it now. Now, maybe I wouldn't have been with this fictional hetero couple 10 years ago in Doctor Who. But for some reason, if it's done, executed well,
it feels like
I'm not that bothered.
It feels like River Song, like, because she always was.
See, I didn't like that either because that was kind of fake.
I liked her. People loved her. A lot of people loved her.
I liked the character, but the romance thing seemed bizarre and weird. Just because, not because it was the Doctor, but because it was just bizarre.
We know that RTD can do this type of genre. We already know that. He's already he's done it, and he's done it several times. But this is Doctor Who, and it's unnecessary. It's 100% unnecessary for the entertainment of the episode. It's unnecessary, and you know what? Like, it's fine. It's what he wants to do with the show.
Okay,
it's unbridled, and he gets to do this, and Disney agrees. And honestly, it has nothing to do with the show. All it is just putting it out there because he can do it. And it has nothing whatsoever to do with the science fiction program that we've known for 60 years. Nothing whatsoever.
Okay, let me ask you this. Would you feel the same if instead...
No, if it's a straight couple... If it's a straight couple, feel the same.
No, Josh, hold on. Let me ask the question, because it's not sort of like it's not really about the gay thing. But would you feel the same if instead, let's pretend this story came up in the Capaldi era? I don't care who wrote it, whether it was Moffat or somebody else. And instead you have Capaldi, and then instead of Rogue, you have Carol Kane playing an alien Time Lord like thing, and they have wonderful scenes of witty dialogue back and forth, and at the same time fall in love with each other.
Sean, what I thought you were going to say, what if Romana, like, Romana 2?
Hey, no, Eric, I asked Josh the question.
Right. But that's the question.
The answer would be the same. It's unnecessary.
You really think that if you kind of quirked it up a little bit, just rounded the edges?
No. You saying quirked it up, but you're saying like make it a straight couple and I'll feel more comfortable about it? And the answer is no. It's not what the show's about. And it never has been. But it is now, because
I kind of get this.
we have somebody who wants to send a message, and he's sending that message. And it has nothing to do with good sci-fi, where Doctor Who is the best at doing it. It is purely to send the message. And I'm done with that. I've had enough of it. Do it in other things. Do it in cucumber. Do it in pickle. Do it in watermelon, or whatever the hell you're going to put out next. Don't do it here. He used to have respect for the show. He used to have respect for what it was. And he doesn't any longer. He's just about sending messages now. That's all he's about. And I don't know what changed. What I think changed probably was he was given more power to do what he wants. And Disney just clapped and applauded and loved it, because Disney is showing this all over the place. They are loving this.
No, they are, but
it is not. It is not this show. And you know what? If you like, these types of love stories, they are all over the place. They don't belong here.
All right. Well,
but also, I don't think this is going to be. No, but I don't think this is going to be like a long-running arc where we're going to have like 5 episodes in a row, like exploring this relationship or anything like that. It's like a Captain Jack pops up every here and there.
It doesn't have to be a 5-episode arc about a love story between the Doctor and somebody else. Because if it was, it'd be even worse.
No, but what I'm saying is it's not completely changing the show if it's contained to like this episode and perhaps an episode next season.
All right, so let's find out what Carl thought about Rogue.
Oh boy, y'all put me on the spot here. Because you all have said so many important and good things, and I don't know if I have much more to add. I don't know how to balance all of this. So, all right, let's.
But you're also open to talk about other aspects.
Well, all right. There's so much that's already been covered. All right. The first thing is, you all know that I'm a relatively new Who fan, right? So I don't have the historical context in terms of what the characters are have been and what's going on. And so I kind of watch them from the modern era forward, with expectations of the Doctor and what the range of the expected behavior of the Doctor is. So, really we'll expect, with the exception of Baker, 1990 is kind of where I get on board with the Doctor Who experience. So with that being said, on one hand, I can really respect what Josh's concerns are regarding this. Here's what I will say about that. Classically, the character of Doctor Who is always been inherently alien, and the interactions with humans, generally the frustration with the human emotional side of things, taking it back to the historical crankiness of the Doctor, has always been a part of what I have seen of the Doctor. So it has only been a very recent thing, even with New Doctor, that he's getting mixed up in the emotionality of his interactions with the modern characters. When we talk about modern Who, even the stuff that was going on with Billy Piper and all of that, will they, won't they? There was a coldness about the Doctor that was inherently alien, that was a part of his character, and maintained a separation between the companions and our experiences with the Doctor, and how the Doctor interacted with the humanity and the experience, what he was experiencing. So being able to see humanity through the eyes of an alien with a cold alien perspective, even though he was here for us, even though he was here to save us, gave us a unique perspective of the Doctor on humanity that maintained an alienness that felt key, that felt a part of what the Doctor has been. So, I can respect in a strong way what Josh is taking issue with in terms of the Doctor softening and expressing more of an emotional side through, I see that. I see that. And that strong alien perspective has been a big piece of what has been a part of even my short experience of the Doctor. So I see that. I get that. I understand that. I had always been frustrated with the Doctor's separation and coolness. That caused me issues when I watched Doctor Who, but I always recognize it is because he is inherently alien. And his take on humanity was colored by that. So that I can understand and I can respect his frustration with that and that change. Even for me, I'm going, okay, well, we're doing something different. We're doing something different now. Now, that being said, and that being the context, I told you I had a frustration with the Doctor's separation from humanity for a very long time. And I always chalked it up to the fact that he was alien that made that separation present. So I can respect the purity of that. But given how much passion and how much sacrifice the Doctor had always given to humanity, always been there in the way that in the alien way that he has, it always frustrated me because you can see the passion and you can see the love and you can see the care, but it was always a twisted version of it. It was always a justified, an abstracted version of what it was. Even Mr. Spock is half human, and so when you see the glimpses of connection, it's because you go, oh, well, that's because he's human or he can see it there. And so, anyway, so my frustration with the Doctor has always been the love has always been right there. The humanity, air quote, has always been right there. Why can't he make that step? Why can't he make that crossover to really experience that? Slowly, with more modern Doctor Who, we have seen that the crankiness and the frustration and the separation had a lot to do with, well, the Doctor's been hurt. All right? The Doctor's been through some real pain. And so initially, my understanding and acceptance of the Doctor's separation from the emotionality of humanity came from a place that it was because he was alien. But slowly, over through the modern twists and turns of what we have experienced with the Doctor, perhaps it's not just that he is alien, but it's because he's hurt. And he's been through a lot of pain and a lot of frustration and a lot of things over time. That feels like where the modern take of Doctor Who has been edging and has been creeping that way more and more. Not that he is fundamentally alien, which really, before the modern era, that's what Doctor felt like. It's because he was alien. He was acting that way. But now, with the modern take, we've been easing more and more into it, that he's that separate and he keeps that distance because he's been hurt. He doesn't want humanity to experience what he's seen. He can't open himself up to another set of beings that he cares about. And so maybe the coldness is not because he's alien, but it's because he has a problem opening up and he's hurt by that. That feels like that has been what the transition has been over the modern era. Now, again, I don't know. This is just my take on this. So now, that being said, it is clear that now with the modern take of the Doctor, they are trying to open up a more emotional side of him. They've been trying to heal the Doctor for like 5 years, 5 seasons now, to try to, connect him with humanity, or he, or now she, with humanity in a way that is more natural to what humans would expect. I don't know if this is a good thing or not, because in the true spirit of science fiction, I truly appreciate how humanity looks through the eyes of an alien, or how humanity looks through the eyes of an android. And having that separation is an important thing to keep that context, and gives us an objective view of humanity. But it appears that the modern take of Doctor Who has been creeping more and more into trying to heal the Doctor and allowing him to finally experience something that is a bit more emotional, that's a bit more connected to what we traditionally think of as the human experience. So now it just so happens that our Doctor has taken on a persona, has taken on a more broader sexual experience. Maybe the time is right, because also not just that, the fact that this Doctor has retired a Doctor, who is free to live on a farm and to bond with a family in retirement. Maybe this is the Doctor that is the most healed in terms of being open to an emotional place. Maybe this Doctor is the one that after all this damn time finally gets to have a little bit of fun. Maybe that's where we're going with all of this stuff. And so, again, I don't know how I feel about all of this, because I've always liked cranky old doctors. I've always liked cranky old doctors. And so that fun take on perspective on humanity has been strong with me. But okay, so with all that being said, now that finally we have a Doctor that has an emotional healing, is feeling a bit more freed from the restrictions that he has had in the past, that we've described in the past. Finally, we get a Doctor that can, is in a place for love. And if that is what we're doing, if that is where we are at, my additional concern, and now I'm going to back up, kind of the things that Sean was talking about. Why so rushed? We've waited an entire, how many years, how many series, how many incarnations of the Doctor before we get to see an actual emotional connection, before we get to see a little bit of love. While I 100% agree with everybody that this was a beautiful, passionate connection that we saw in a way that was tremendously natural, particularly given Ncuti's charisma. It was a beautiful thing that we saw. And of course, you can't beat the Bridgerton, look, if you're going to have a love story, or a fling and romance. But I just wish, if we were finally getting a chance to express, to see the Doctor falling in love, and you all know this has been my main criticism of the modern era. Why so rushed? Everything happened so fast in this.
He wasn't rushed. It was just a lot of flirting. Who said he was in love? It was a trauma bond. Like, I'm
just saying.
Okay, my bad.
If the Doctor's going to fall in love, I am all there for that, and I'm excited about experiencing the prospect of that, if that's where we're going to go. But don't rush it, because this is a big darn deal, and they've been rushing stuff all. This is my major complaint again and again, and here we go. So, all right. So I feel they rushed it. They rushed it. If given the scale and scope of what it is that they were trying to achieve, that frustrates me. That annoys me. So, all right.
When you talk about rushing stuff, that's a really valid point. There was a episode called "Sleep No More" in the Capaldi era. That was written by a very capable person, and it was shit because it was cut up so much. And the same with some of Neil Gaiman's episodes.
Listen. My love for Capaldi is always cut with the fact that the potential was lost because they rushed things. They were ham-handed, ham-fisted with the stuff that they were doing during Capaldi's era. It broke my heart, because he's my third favorite Doctor, and he would have been higher if he'd had more material. But anyway, go on.
Yeah. However, I don't get that feeling with this episode where it was cut down. I just feel that it was organically created. And what I'm so impressed with is the fact that it wasn't written by Russell T Davies. Maybe it was a little bit. We don't know how much he had his hands in it.
Yeah, certainly he had some hands in
all
there.
right, so
I think.
I'm just gonna say, while I felt the rush and the candy of what was happening in terms of the romance, I definitely felt that if we were going to watch the Doctor fall in love, I wanted more time to experience that. So I'll put it that way. The other thing that I'm going to say, and again, just to further talk about the rushing here, when the Doctor gets his hand on the Triform and makes the modifications to it, makes the modifications to the Triform, and he basically says, "All right, it's going to work. We got to capture a large group, but we can only use it one time." Okay, given the rushed nature of what is happening in this episode, given that I wish there had been more time to explore the potential of the emotionality of what the Doctor is finally getting to experience after all of this time, Eric, come on, man, come on. Did you not know at that moment when the Doctor had hacked the Triform? Did you not know in that moment how things were going to go? Come on. The exposition. Well, we're going to get one opportunity to use the Triform. It only has a certain amount of energy. A certain number of people are going to be able to go through this. Oh, and it just so happens that in this episode, I've fallen in love with the character that, there's no way that we're going to be able to carry through multiple episodes. I wonder what is going to happen in this very moment. Right then, I was like, oh, for God's sake. I just gave away the whole ending of this episode right there in that moment. But okay, all right.
Hold on. I like that you brought this up too, because you're right, Carl. I saw the signpost, obviously, but upon second rewatch that I had earlier today, I had new thoughts about that scene because I was paying more attention on my second rewatch, and I actually, even though what you said is true and very obvious, I actually fell more in love with that scene on my recent rewatch because
Wait, say again. What is this scene? I'm saying that for myself.
This
and
scene at the
people.
end when it's like it needs to send exactly this many people, and we know that, or we suspect that Rogue is going to substitute himself. And
At the moment that the Doctor modifies the Triform and describes the limitations of the modification, which is earlier in the episode, right then I was like, I know how this is going to go. I know how this episode is going to end. Right there. So again, they have already shoehorned, an already rushed experience. I was like, I already know how this is going to end. And it's only, halfway into the episode, and we're just, all right, so go on.
You're right. And you're right. But that being said, and when I said I love this scene, not that scene, but the actual scene where the decision has to be made, upon second rewatch, I really love that scene because I had new thoughts about it. Because as much as we knew what was going to happen, because it was very telegraphed, that being said, I was paying more attention to the dialogue during the transport scene. And I had new thoughts, which were, earlier in the episode when they first go on a Rogue ship, the Doctor detects that Rogue had somebody in the past, someone who he lost, someone who was very close to him. We have no idea if it was male, female, or other. No idea, not important, but we know that. Now, fast forward to that scene at the end where it's getting to the climax, and Rogue is saying initially, "You just gotta let her go, Doctor. It's what we gotta do. We have no choice. We have to get rid of these creatures off of Earth." And he tells the Doctor, "Can you give up someone you love? Like basically to save the world." And the Doctor is obviously like, "No, I can't." I mean, he doesn't say it like that, but it's very obvious that he's not able to make that choice. And so I was already thinking about how it seems like in Rogue's prehistory, it's implied that he probably had to make a decision like that already, and he did, and he's going through that pain. So I'm reading into this a little bit, but then, so he says that it seems like the Doctor won't be able to make that choice in this moment. And so then Rogue, pushes Ruby off, then he gets stuck, then he gets sent away. We have Ncuti do this amazing emotional performance right there visually. But then I thought, wow, because Rogue was saying, "Can you do it, Doctor?" He's basically like, "No." But then Rogue does it himself again, because I think the further implication is not only that he did it before, but he's doing it again now, because now Rogue, by putting himself in Ruby's place, he is sacrificing the person who he is, at least right now, infatuated and in love with. So I thought, whoa, in the context of the story, I love this moment right here. I love it because it's
Right?
multi-layered.
Yeah.
I love it. And of course, we expect at some point, who knows when, we'll revisit this Rogue character
He's going to be
again.
in the Phantom Zone
Yeah.
because that was the
Or, yeah. Well, he's obviously in the Phantom Zone or something. But I was like, this is a good setup. And now some other stuff I wanted to react to what Carl was saying. So, like the first 3/4 of what Carl was saying, I found very fascinating because I hadn't really thought about it that way in general, like the Doctor and his alienness. So that was fascinating. But then the last quarter, I very much am on the same page with Carl. Kinda. The thing you were saying about, okay, so the Doctor seems to be changing through the new era. He seems, so something I was going to say earlier or later, but it's very relevant now, is that, so I think, going back to RTD's agenda currently in New Doctor Who, I think there's a crossover between what's happening in universe and the show, and then obviously RTD and whatever his machinations are in his mind. I think there's a crossover there. Whereas, because I felt, okay, this is very significant after the bi-generation in the giggle, and Ncuti is very clearly saying, the Ncuti Doctor is very clearly saying, all that stuff, all the angst, as Carl likes to say, that's been experienced by the Doctor in the new series since Christopher Eccleston with the whole Time War, blah blah blah, all that angst, we're throwing it off.
Angst.
We've bi-generated. The Tenant guy is going his way, Tenant 2,
Josh,
and
help us.
Ncuti is gonna shed his mortal coil, his Time Lord coil, and he's gonna be free to now be behind, done with that. And initially I thought this is fantastic because it was cool when they started with Eccleston with the whole hurt Doctor, emotional Doctor, but it felt like it was just going forever, like through all the different iterations, Matt Smith and Capaldi,
And yet he hasn't stopped crying since the beginning of the
Oh
show.
my God.
right. And so, well, hold on.
It's true.
So I was like, yeah, I want to get rid of that too, and have a Doctor that's sort of blank slate in a way. Okay, and then also what Carl said I thought was really interesting and important, because he was talking about, if you're going to, yes, the Doctor's evolving in the new series, but you should slow it down. I also agree with that. And while I think it works in this self-contained episode, the speed, because this is like a new love at first sight type situation, but I agree with Carl, and then I kind of agree with what happened, which is yes, you should prolong it. You should edge into it, because other shows that do this do it well when they prolong it just right, where it doesn't happen too fast. Da 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 da. And so I totally agree with that. Yes, let's do this, but let's not go at 100 miles per hour. But that being said, because this was in universe, an initial meeting, an initial infatuation, and then it's just cut off, I think that can work too, because it does feel really immediate and rushed in the moment, all things considered. But if we don't see this character for a long time, and then when they meet again, I don't think they're going to be like, oh, I miss you so much, let's do it right now. No, I think they're going to have to like refine that lost connection that they had, which was probably ages ago for them, whenever they meet up again. And so maybe it is fast, but will be slow eventually. We just don't know yet. So I'm kind of like agreeing with like everything that everyone's saying, kind of is what I'm saying. And to me, it's all like, I'm agreeing with stuff Josh said and everyone else, but this one works for me.
Can we talk about the bird people?
Yeah.
So I just want to okay, put all the other shit aside. Okay, let's talk about the idea around the bird people cosplaying and basically taking over the person or killing the person so that they can cosplay them. Okay,
I want you to refine your question, and then can you ask each of us one at a time or something? But define the bird people.
It might have been a rhetorical
No,
question.
no, I'm
maybe.
not throwing out a rhetorical question. All I'm saying is like this idea is actually a good one. Around we have a race of bird people, whatever they are. By the way, they look terrible. But beyond that, we have a race of bird people that basically are cosplaying others in some type of game that they're playing where they're trying to be the best one out of everybody, and literally killing the people so that they can cosplay them. And I think that that's the best idea out of this story. It's a really interesting idea. It's a
I agree with
really
this.
wild idea.
I would like to add, I don't think it's the best thing out of the story, but I do agree with you, Josh, and probably but I do like that as a villain, because what's great about it is, for once, it's not like the whole universe is going to be destroyed because of this party and this,
Right, exactly. They just want to be the most popular one.
Yeah, I don't even know how many of them are these bird people they were, and if there were 4, 5, 6, 7, I was confused. But I also don't know how bird people from evolution came from a different. Do they come from Earth? Whatever.
I saw better costumes like in the 1970s than what we saw.
No, but maybe because they're shapeshifters. Maybe they just are going with this bird look for now, but maybe that's not even their natural state.
But I'm confused about the bird thing, because I don't know. I felt a little bit of I guess racial insensitivity, I guess, but not on my end. But like, isn't like birds, those specific type of birds, and shapeshifting part of the Native American lore?
Oh, I didn't think that's where you were going to go with that.
Oh, I didn't even know that did not cross my mind.
I thought you were going to go down a different
and
angle.
so I was like, well, they're birds and they're shapeshifters, and the birds that they are being like, was that on purpose? Why would they do that? I don't know.
Well, this is interesting because, okay, so I hadn't even fathomed this.
Oh, wow. I want somebody to complain about this on Twitter.
As soon as you brought it, so I didn't even fathom this idea about the birds. But now that you brought it up, my brain immediately went somewhere else where I thought you were going to take it, which was not the indigenous beliefs route. Where I thought you were going to go is because I've been watching also nature documentaries recently. Things like the Earth and Life series. I've been watching Our World, which is the new version on Netflix of that. And in the new nature documentaries, they always do a segment now. It's like it's mandatory or something that they have to go to the jungles of the Amazon and they have to show the birds and their crazy mating rituals in the Amazon specifically. I thought you were going to go down that road because I thought, oh my God, is that the idea? Because when you watch those segments in those nature documentaries,
oh, I see what you're doing. Yeah, because they have to.
Those birds, they're all like crazy looking, colorful and bombastic, and it's all about the mating ritual. And they put on.
That's not what this episode was about.
Oh, I know, but when Kat said it, I was like, oh my gosh, because considering the theme of the episode being all about like Chisme and hooking up and this and that and Bridgerton. I was like, whoa, that would make so much sense that these colorful birds that all look different have these weird, complex mating habits of,
But is that what Native American
I'm comparing
is fundamentally, maybe? Would Native Americans be...
I'm not talking about Native Americans.
No, I know the native birds, but they use feathers and the males dance, but the women don't. And have you ever seen a
Right. Well, my point was, when you watch those nature documentaries and they're explaining how these creatures hook up and choose mates and procreate, then I was thinking about not Bridgerton, but going back to like Jane Austen writing about this time period and courtship in general, the early 1800s. And so then I made a connection in my brain of this genre of story, whether it's Bridgerton or it's Jane Austen, for this genre that Jane Austen pioneered and is a very popular genre, Bridgerton notwithstanding, whenever modern peoples like us look back at the 1800s, early 1800s British courtship traditions, it looks like a weird bird dance because of the nature type. Because when you look at it through modern eyes, it's like it's so funny. All the weird rules. The girls have to be
It's
either
not-
good
no.
at watercolors or piano.
It's not that funny. It's square dancing is an evolution of that, probably, or some way.
Well, you're right. But I'm saying,
And square dancing, I may be wrong, but it has just as much rules. Maybe.
no, you're right. And then like the waltz, I've learned from reading the Bridgerton novels. Like the waltz in particular, you have to have like special permission from like the girl's mother because that's like a very risque dance, like for the ballroom at the time. So
And
you
then
know,
our
you have to,
grandparents did the twist and all that.
I got permission. I got permission from my mom to twerk.
but my point is, it would make sense, even if this is unintended. It would make sense to compare birds being interested in human courtship traditions of the early 1800s. It would make sense, and especially because all the birds look different and they're all very colorful. Like,
But
it would make sense. It would make sense that those things would tie together.
It's cosplaying. It's
that also. It's that also.
yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. And if I was a sociopath that would just come down and suck the souls of random people and whatever, I would totally fucking do it. I mean, come on, but I wouldn't do it. I mean, if somebody gave me some
No, but
clothes, I would do it. But I
What, you're killing people.
if somebody gave you a body, Sean, like a body, an actual body.
Well, it's
That's
like
what they're doing. It's not just the
This
clothes.
is like the movie Under the Skin that we did on the podcast like 10 years ago.
It's the body. Like you get to take the body.
and we have to bring up the fact that even though a lot of this episode was centered on the Doctor, is that Ruby did have a really cool subplot that I think she did so well. I mean, down to a stupid scene where like books fell on her head and then she sort of like staggered out of the way and the other folks saw her. Nobody saw that.
Yeah,
or
no,
agreed?
yeah, we
Yeah,
saw
that's
it.
great.
Just
Okay.
didn't think it was that big of a
yeah.
deal.
Whoa! I
Crazy.
just all of a sudden heard everybody talking at once.
Yeah.
Was a murder committed? My God!
Yes, you're right, Sean. You're right. And also,
Jesus Christ!
no, you're right.
He has nothing whatsoever to do with this. I promise.
Oh God!
Neither does he. God doesn't have anything to do with it either.
Oh, I thought you wanted us to chime in, Sean.
Not all at once.
Oh, okay.
If getting back to one of the things that Josh was talking about in terms of the idea of the aliens possessing people as being an interesting plot device. You remember, that is technically the agenda of the changelings from Deep Space Nine, where they would infiltrate the society.
Nice way to do it. All right, brother.
But it was still, it isn't, and it's the cosplay aspect of it combined with the ability to control an entire society by strategically choosing the right people like chess pieces. That's some dangerous stuff. I just wish they didn't look like penguins. That was
Were
the
they
whole thing.
penguins or were they something else?
Look, I wish they did look like penguins. They basically look like, Halloween costumes at Yale University.
Oh, I mean, Yale has a good.
The bird
costume.
version of the
Not
Cats
a good
film,
thing. Not a
but
good thing.
with birds. Yeah, no, it's not a
They
good
look
thing.
like they were from Sesame Street.
Yeah, I was about to go there too.
Yeah, basically, where are you spending your money, Disney?
Yeah, one of them should look like that Blue Eagle Muppet.
I know exactly. That was the one I'm
That
talking
was-
about.
been pretty
Totally looked like that. With the one with the mustache.
Yeah,
There was
that
one with the mustache.
Yeah.
I like that one. He looks
Oh
pretty
god,
fierce.
that
I
was
like
so
guy.
off. It's so terrible.
Also, when
Like the 70s called and they said that was awful.
At least it wasn't rubber.
yeah, speaking of the 70s, when Carl like calmed the room just now with his deep tenor of a voice, I just thought, man, we got to get this guy to do some like Colt
Okay,
45
sir, that is
Marlboro
edging deep.
commercials.
Okay, so yeah, let's.
Let's go a little.
I want to say like yeah, when I come home from a hard day.
All right.
No, Eric, stop. You're going crazy. No, let's have Carl do that. You record it and then like send it over to the company. Say, hey, can we use this on our show? And can you pay us? See how that works.
You know, my favorite part was the stringed version of Poker Face,
That was cool.
Lady Gaga.
The which one?
I loved it.
They were playing Poker Face. It's the music.
But with violins.
Yeah. Loved it. Well, it's hard for me to choose my favorite part because I had so many favorite parts in this episode. Love the Poker Face. And I remember me and Kat bonded on that song, the original, because that's when we were becoming friends, was when Lady Gaga was coming onto the scene.
In Rogue, you mean? They play Poker Face?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. With the strings.
The band was playing in the background.
I watched it with the subtitles on, and it also said when they're in the balcony over the ballroom when the Doctor meets Rogue.
That was a different time.
Yeah, it says that Billie Eilish was playing.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay.
Billie Eilish.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. And of course, yeah, I was gonna say there's so many good moments. And yeah, and Kat already mentioned it, but the Kylie Minogue Can't Get You Out of My
Head, yes.
Head.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Like I can't remember if this is Carl and Kat or one or the other or both, but like, because I've liked Ncuti out of the gate as himself as the Doctor, but then I think Kat kind of said something like this, and I agreed after she said it in my head, which is as much as I've already enjoyed Ncuti, he was like, oh my god, like this was his real, no pun intended, coming out really as a Doctor, because I just thought he was so on point with his Doctor manners. And when he was in that specific part, when he kept turning the music back on, I have to admit, the way he was undulating,
okay.
I was like, I am so in right now. I am so into, like, it's so entertaining. What's so fantastic about that moment? All of us, I don't want to say all of us. I really can't speak. I think we're all older than him, but he was grooving out to our era, assuming we're older than him. He was grooving out to our era of music, and we got it right there. Yeah. We remembered when we were going out on a date, hearing that music, and boom.
If Ncuti is any older than anyone else on this call, then Black really don't crack, because there's no way.
Wow, I didn't know where that was going.
Really,
at all.
really, is this it?
Nobody's older than me.
No, not really. I'm not.
He's 31.
Tom Baker's older than Josh,
and I'm 38.
Just by a few years, yeah.
But that moment was so freaking good. I love it so much. I'm sure the GIF is out there somewhere, and of course many people noted the Kylie Minogue reference, because of course Kylie Minogue was in Doctor Who, Voyage of the Damned. But it was just, I was just so in the moment, and he was so. And I also, because I like to play the silly game in my head, I was trying to picture David Tennant pulling off that scene.
He could do it. He did something like it.
I was trying to picture Jodie Whittaker. I was trying to picture any other actor or actress as the Doctor doing what Ncuti was doing while that song was playing, and it was kind of hilarious. Just that mind experiment.
Yeah, it was the chemistry there. It was nice. So,
all right. Well, let me ask you, Josh. I want to get back to you, because personally, I don't know if I can reconcile all of this in terms of the simple question. Doctor Who's been on TV 60 some years, right? And we've had a certain perception of who the Doctor was. I'm not talking about the sexual. The sexual orientation aspect of it. I'm talking about we've had an era where Doctor was initially alien and cranky, and was that perception and was that lens on humanity for a long time. Can you accept this change in the Doctor, that he is now a more emotionally connected being that aligns more with humanity? in terms of the development of the character after 60 years, is that acceptable in the transition of who this Doctor has been over all these eras? What do you think?
And my answer doesn't mean anything because
Well, I'm asking. I'm just curious.
Yes, it does.
no, it doesn't mean anything because it's all about the writers, it's all about the showrunners.
But my
It will be what it will be as a result of whatever message they are trying to get across. And
It doesn't.
it is not the show that I fell in love with when I was a kid.
okay.
But frankly, it hasn't been for a very long time.
Mhm.
Well, I think we know that by now. I mean,
But as far as like this particular episode is concerned, no, I don't think any of it was necessary towards the plot. I don't think any of this was all Russell doing what he does, which is trying to virtual signal to a group of folks who like this kind of thing, but it's not my kind of sci-fi.
And when you say that you felt like the Doctor, this wasn't your Doctor.
I didn't say that. I didn't say those words.
Nope. Okay.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. Well, what I mean, you said that you felt that this hasn't been like Doctor Who for a while, or this hasn't been. When did that start?
Oh, long time ago.
When?
2005.
Oh,
Which Doctor, guys? I'm trying.
that's Eccleston.
Which Doctor? Which Doctor was it?
The new show.
Oh, the new. So from Eccleston era forward. Okay.
Yeah. But look, when it was pure sci-fi and it was good, and we weren't talking about getting each other's pants, it's a good show. It is. It's a good show when we're not talking about that. Because if I want that, I'll go somewhere else to get that. And this is just another example of RTD unbridled doing what he's doing to either send a message or send multiple messages to what he conceives to be a new audience in 2024
All right, but
that
hang on.
appreciates this stuff, and I don't appreciate it.
Well, hang on, wait. I'm because I'm just trying to understand now. But you're taking this all the way back to Eccleston's era, that you felt that that the show was going in an odd direction, or in a direction different than what was it back then that felt astray from.
Well, most of the time it was fine. But when we started having the Doctor and Rose have a human relationship, I wasn't into that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because the age gap for me, but
I think because if Caleb were here right now, but he can't be because Kat is here. But if Caleb were here right now, he would love to answer that question that you just asked, Carl, and I think he'd be very on board with Josh, because Caleb has said this a million times, that as soon as New Who started with Christopher Eccleston, episode 1 Rose, Caleb has never felt like this is classic Doctor Who.
He's right. He's right. It's not classic Doctor Who.
He's been the champion of this
course.
cause for as long as I've known him, and we've discussed
And
Doctor
Doctor Who
Who.
wouldn't have lasted this long if it was classic Doctor Who.
Yeah, and then to answer your question, thinking back to the many conversations Caleb and I have had about this online and offline, I know, like, right from the beginning, in general, I know Caleb has always hated, in the new series, the Doctor going domestic, meeting the family,
Kitchens and children.
constantly going to Earth, checking in on the family, the in-laws, the whomevers. Caleb has never liked any of that. He just wants them to travel around, get into their adventures, whatever, but not be so tied to Earth. I mean, that's just the beginning of what Caleb would say, I think. Because, yes, he does not like these alterations and adjustments to, like, the show as a whole. He's certainly not on board, I don't believe, with any type of relationships and things. I'm pretty sure he loathed the whole Rose Tennant thing. I'm pretty sure he loathed the whole, because Tennant was, in my mind, the first. Yes, there was hints with Eccleston, but Tennant, during his original run, is when the Doctor started getting really emotional all the time. I mean, for the first time in the Doctor's on-screen history. And I don't believe Caleb's ever been on board with that stuff. I think he doesn't like things that are more fairy tale fantasy oriented. I don't want
I
to
don't usually either.
misquote there. He also likes the more science fiction-y, type stories.
That's my preference. But
So yeah, I think Caleb would have much more to say, I'm sure, if he were here right now, because he's never been on board with
But
this
this is
stuff.
the same as the Van Gogh episode in that, right? It's going back to a time period. Well, yeah.
Well, it's funny you mentioned
Okay.
that, Kat, because I had mentioned this a little bit in one of the previous episodes that we covered for this season. And I felt it again with this one, which was, and this is just me, this was an episode that fits like Vincent and the Doctor, where, and that's funny because they had the weird rooster T-Rex in that episode.
Wow.
But this is another episode of new Doctor Who where what's actually happening in the story, while the whole cosplay aspect is interesting on its own, I am little concerned with whatever the heck is actually going on in this setting, in the story. And the story itself of, getting rid of the baddies and thwarting their plot, that is so secondary to me. I was much more interested in the character interactions and what was going on with the Doctor and Rogue. And yeah, Ruby had the nice subplot too. But yes, I need to come up with a name for that category of new Doctor Who episodes where it's just about the characters interacting for me, why I love it in this particular episode. And whatever's happening with the creature and the monster and the baddie of the week, it's such a backseat in this particular. And I know some people really don't like that, and they don't like that about Vincent and the Doctor and these other episodes. But for me, when the characterizations and the dialogue work, I'm in.
All right.
Yeah. I knew there was going to be a lot to say about this episode, and we could probably even go harder if we wanted to on these aspects and other aspects. But yeah,
I have one more question. So, is this, Josh, the reason maybe why you like Sarah Jane Adventures? And I'm putting in air quotes because there was really no sexual. It was all about the aliens, and it was kind of more Doctor Who-ish, or no?
I have no general feelings towards Sarah Jane Adventures.
Sarah Jane, really?
I really don't.
Why do you sound like you're in a deposition?
No. I mean, honestly,
Kind of drunk, sitting here thinking, and all of a sudden, the hairs in the back of my neck pricked up when you said that, and I'm like,
No. I don't love Sarah Jane Adventures. I never have. I mean,
it felt like they were at least
it's fine, but it's not something like I didn't buy the media for Sarah Jane Adventures.
Okay.
I don't watch those over and over again.
Okay.
Not that I watch New Doctor Who over and over again, but like I never had a generalized like any type of feeling towards Sarah Jane Adventures.
But funny you brought that up, Kat, because no.
I had
Funny you brought that up. I have a 45-minute discussion on that topic.
I would have been done already, but you guys are triggered. No, I was thinking this kind of feels, and there's been some other episodes this season as well that kind of feel like Sarah Jane Adventures to me, just a little bit.
Oh, I thought the whole Jodie experience was Sarah Jane Adventures.
Oh, it sure was. That is a perfect way to look. Oh,
I mean, I thought the entire of Jodie's era was Sarah Jane.
Well, I'd have to unpack that one and think about it deeper to figure that one out. But this episode, I just, because it was Earthbound, well, not current day, but because it was a little bit zany. I mean,
Zany's
if you just focus on the birds and what was happening, if you put aside the Rogue Doctor stuff, it had this Sarah Jane air about it, and some of the other episodes.
Yeah, because the costumes were silly, and that was the whole thing about Sarah Jane. Is that every single time we watched Sarah Jane Adventure, it was like the costumes were silly.
Yeah, and the Sarah Jane show in general also reminds me of like the Unit era Earthbound, but if it was like the Unit era 2000,
I don't know,
mid 2000s.
I don't either. Sean.
Aimed at kids. That's how the Sarah Jane show feels in general to me.
Well, I would say that the Jodie season felt like Sarah Jane because they had like a black guy,
Well, yeah.
Asian
The time team
person, and yeah,
was Sarah Janey for sure. They're like the young
yeah.
adult version, where those were like the younger adult versions.
I wonder if I can enjoy it more with that. I'm sorry, I'm having.
Well, of course, I always said, why wasn't it Ronnie, the character from In Universe? Why wasn't she the police officer character companion?
Okay, well we can. Okay, yep,
Sorry,
nope,
guys.
we're doing
No,
it.
I have to sit up.
Why? Because she's Indian and Yaz is Indian too, or Pakistani?
No, because I wanted Ronnie to come back. No, I wanted Ronnie to come back into the universe.
Okay.
That's why. What's our unit of measure? Anyone?
Okay.
There's so many things to choose.
Are there really so many things to choose?
There are.
Why don't you give us an example of what to choose?
How
How many Bridgerton episodes? How many bird people?
Triforms.
Oh, before we before we actually rate, I wanted to go back
45
and
minutes. 45 minutes.
highlight one of the
Before we
writers.
rate, 45 minutes. Here you go, Eric. Go ahead.
Kate Herron was one of the co-writers, and we had forgotten her filmography. And some of this I mentioned on a previous MHC
Who?
and then something else. Kate Herron, who was one of the Herron, get it? No, just kidding. She's one of the co-writers, and she previously worked on, and she's a director and a writer. And so, yeah, she directed 4 episodes of Sex Education.
Oh, well, that makes okay.
Oh, that does.
She will be a director in The Last of Us season 2.
Looking forward to it, or maybe I'm not looking forward to it.
What I didn't see previously until today was that she was actually executive producer and a director on Loki season 1, which I was like, oh my gosh. No, for those who don't know, who don't watch the Marvel stuff, especially the Marvel TV Disney Plus stuff, because most of it, in my opinion, is dreadful. But Loki is really
Loki
interesting.
is American Doctor Who, dude. I'm like, what are we doing?
It is very Doctor Who-y in its own way. It's not like a copy. It's not Inspector Spacetime or anything like that.
Yeah,
but it's very Doctor Who
So
germane.
it's very David Huey.
Wait, what?
That's a person who was one of the original Doctor Who podcasters.
Okay.
That got Sean into the business.
Oh God, we're 2 minutes of 1 a.m. my time. I knew Sean would go down this road.
Oh my God, it is. It's like almost midnight. Oh.
He got me into the business.
He did. You know, back in those days, you had to know someone. You know?
Evangelical, like. Yeah, and he is in real life, but he's like, he did get me into the business.
You had your David Huey, and I had my Louie and Cat because they got me into the business.
Louis.
I had Eric. Eric got me in the business.
Yeah, see, it's like Interview with a Vampire. Like you got to initiate.
I'm starting to regret. Yeah.
See, Louis Trapani, he bit me first.
Louis Trapani, he bit me first. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I bit Josh, and then David Huey bit Sean. So unit of measure, all the different song numbers are coming to my head. Something about birds.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Unit of measure to rate the episode.
Oh, we have to have a unit of measure, Sean. Like, how are we rating this, right?
Seriously, is everybody still...
I feel like I'm talking to my mom when I talk to you sometimes. like I'm trying to explain to you at a very, very base level what we're trying to accomplish.
I know, Josh.
Wow, that's a very light and dark
She's
statement.
trying to like wash the dishes at the same time, not paying attention.
I'm like, Mom, it's okay. There's nobody at the door right now. No, the cops aren't outside. The cops are not outside. It's
Ever since that near fatal car accident, Sean just hasn't been the same.
How old is your mom?
She's like pushing 86, and she's kind of not great.
So okay, let me tell you something. 86 sober is 48 drunk. Okay.
Wow.
Oh, at least. I would put it differently, but I got you. But I'm just trying to explain it to you like I'm trying to explain it to my mom. Very, very slowly. trying to get to the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah.
Don't leave anything out. We are trying to rate this program.
But I'm just gonna say,
Can we do Pirate Planet Part 4 next?
No, I want to do the Curse of the Black Spot.
Oh,
no,
let's do Curse of the Black
absolutely
Spot.
not. I will never speak to you again.
Okay. Just give us a unit measure. Anyone, throw something out there.
A triform. Come on.
Yeah, that's great.
All right.
I love that one. Triform. All right. Out of 5 triforms. You know what? I'm not gonna overthink it right now. I'm just gonna throw out a 4 right now. 4 triforms. Which, by the way, this I don't think it's been the best episode of this season, but it's the one that's intrigued me and I've enjoyed the most thus far this season of Doctor.
Somebody's gotta help you. You need like psychiatric attention.
Well, let me tell you a story. No, go ahead. Continue.
Yeah.
Who wants to rate it next? Out of Triform.
I'll rate it next. I'm gonna give it 1.5. Triform, whatever.
Now who's going up 3 octaves?
I honestly thought that if you take the whole relationship nonsense out and you just talk about the actual show and what it was trying to do, there was almost nothing there. It was like early Sylvester McCoy.
Yeah, it kind of was.
It kind of was season 24 for me. So and season 24 had nothing above 2. Okay.
Yeah, Josh. If you gave this episode a gayectomy, then I probably would have given it like a 2.5, like a 2.5.
No. I'm not. Please.
Relationectomy.
Let's. Okay. Thank you. I don't want people to think that there is some issue I have with gay people having a relationship.
Oh yeah, none of us here.
Because I do not have any issues with that at all. Okay.
Yeah, Josh has a lot of gay friends.
That's not even the point.
People who are still fucking listening to this right now probably don't have an issue.
I'm just saying, like, I don't want people to think that has nothing to do with this. I just think it's when you put something into something that doesn't belong, and
oh dear,
so clearly.
Wow.
Oh, gee, that's deep. That's deep.
Okay, all right. Let me. Can I start that over, Caleb? Take that completely out.
Oh my gosh,
Caleb, please take that out. What I just said.
Yeah, Caleb, take it out.
Don't leave it in here, Caleb. It's been in there too long. It didn't belong in this episode. Okay, all right. So I'm not going to say anything more about that part.
This has been a mostly harmless suppository.
Oh,
this is hardly mostly harmless too. It's like mostly harmful. Mostly harmful.
Eric, settle down. Oh my god.
Hardly.
Okay, I'm not going to talk about that anymore. That is not the point. And if anybody thinks, if anybody thinks that's the point, that's not where I'm going with this. Okay,
I'm with Josh on this. Jeez, guys, could you please? Honestly,
we're like in 4th grade right now. I mean, basically 4th grade humor.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I'm in 7th.
Okay,
so you guys should be in line right now.
What is your rating?
I said it was 1.5.
1.5.
I'm talking to.
Okay. Sean, you want Sean's?
Sean. No, I didn't know you had more to say. Okay.
No. I don't have much more to say because the more I say, the more the hole digs deeper.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna leave it there. Just know that
yes, sir,
it's nothing to do with Ncuti's requirements for relationships or anything like that. It's not to do with that. I love my gay friends, so I don't care about that stuff.
Oh.
What is that a problem, Sean?
Sean, just move on. Sean,
we will come to get you.
What is your rating, sir?
Sean's gonna keep me out.
My rating for Rogue.
Rogue, yes.
It's again 4 to 5.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
I guess I'll go next. I'm 5 out of 5. In fact, if I could throw a half on there,
Woo!
I liked it that much. This is my episode.
Whoa.
So this is like Time of Angels to me.
Yes, this is it for me. I loved this. I loved everything about it.
Wow.
Well, I'm on board with Kat on this one. I mean, I'm not giving it a 5, but I'm on board with the sentiment.
No, this is a 5 for me. It's what I've been looking for. It's what I've been waiting on.
Oh, RTD
Nice.
loves you. He really does.
And I'm like Carl. I don't really have the association like you have. I'm a new Who. That's where I came in. So a lot of these things, I don't really have that background. And so
You're 100% entitled to your opinion.
Right.
I respect everything that you say, Kat.
Yeah.
Literally everything that you say. So, all you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, much like the doctor standing with the activation device in his hand and having a very difficult time trying, can I push the button? Can I push the button? I'm giving this a 3-5, and here's why. On one hand, I do love the passion and the emotion of Ncuti, and just the falling in love in this episode is quite wondrous, and Bridgerton is the appropriate context for that kind of beauty. However, my hesitation and shakiness is still hanging on. Like Josh, I respect the old cranky doctor. I
And the old
respect
cranky fans,
the
too.
alien. Well, I respect that, that classic perception of what alien Doctor Who is. And while I do enjoy the love and the passion and the moment that was in this episode, even though it was rushed, I feel like hanging on to that device, that I'm letting go of a distinctiveness of what Doctor Who was, and so it's hard. I can't. I gotta hand it to my temporary lover in order to press the button on this one, because I can't. I'm split in terms of how I feel.
It was extreme flirting.
So 3-5.
That's nice. That's nice. And quickly, letter grade for the outfit. I mean, this is an A. I love the Vino Velvet.
A+.
1813 period coat.
Yeah.
A+.
Yeah. Everybody looks good. I'm giving it an A.
Gentlemen, other gentlemen, any
Clothing report.
marks on the doctor's costume in this story?
No.
Okay, that's fine. And oh my gosh.
Closing out the show.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I just had two thoughts in my head and now they're fleeting.
Oh God, they were 25 minutes each, by the way.
Eric, why are you not drunk sometimes?
I did drink one beer.
Right.
2 hours ago.
Well, I don't know. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
I say this. I said okay. I got it. We're gonna close it out. I got it. So I've been saying this a lot recently, and I know certain people would not want this, but I wish this story could have been extended like an old school serial. I wish this was like a 4-parter, 30 minutes or something. I think it would be better developed. This singular story would be so much better developed if it wasn't just 40.
That's what you're saying is madness. It is absolute madness. This could not have lasted 4 episodes.
And, well, I think it could have been fleshed out much better and felt better at the end.
No,
anyway.
no. There's no way this fleshes out better.
And then I just noticed this on Kate Herron's filmography, a future project she's working on with the co-writer Bryony Redman. They are working on a film called The Sims.
Oh, I'm ready.
Oh, they're doing that. Oh my
Yes.
God.
Oh, I'm so totally ready for that, because that's definitely something that's going to be on my playlist.
Oh, that's sarcasm. Okay. All right. I see you. Sarcasm.
So there we go. Ingest that. And closing out the show today, this is Eric.
This is Josh.
This is Kat.
This is Sean.
And this is Carl.
And until next time.
Don't panic. Oh.
Even if there are bird people after your persona and want to cosplay you.
Don't panic. Also, why did they say 73 yards and not 66.75 meters?
Okay.
Oh,
The show had
yeah.
Cat.
Okay.
Cat.
Yeah, we already did
Cat.
that. We already-
I mean, those are that's just.
let's
That-
crack
that-
it open. Okay, the episode's over.
Cat, you're gonna have to watch the last episode. That's okay.
No, forget that. No, we discussed this when we did the episode 73 yards. So we didn't really know for sure either. We
I'll
were
be
kind of
right
wondering the same
back.
thing. I wasn't sure if it was
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, Sean.
Hi, Sean.
Okay,
It was
Arnold.
nice.
So I wasn't sure if it was like a British football thing that they do yards like American football or what. But then when I did further research, in England, it is customary when we're talking about distances. They use the old imperial for the most part, just like America does with distances. So in England, like on their road signs, they usually put, like this exits in 60 yards or in 3 miles or whatever. So yeah, in England, that's the one imperial thing that they kind of stick to is length.
Yeah, but there's more. There's more.
Yeah, there's in-universe stuff that we'll find out about later.
Yes.
Good. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, boys and girls.
Obviously, everybody wants to go. It's been fantastic. I loved it. I'm gonna love re-listening to this.
I will not listen to it at all.
and I'm guessing the next time we convene, we'll probably do both together. I'm guessing the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, that's cool. That's all good. We should do that. I don't want to spend more time.
Oh,
No, never
Josh.
mind. No. I kind of overall like the last 2. So
Okay. All right. I'm gonna watch them. I'm gonna watch.
I mean, I didn't love it, but I did. There was good stuff.
Okay.
So.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this.
I don't want to, enact the curse, but maybe we can get Caleb and Cap together for the fun.
I think the whole podcast would explode.